You're standing at the counter holding a receipt that is longer than your forearm. You don't remember agreeing to any of it. Carbon fiber paddle, $189.99. Tournament grade balls, $39.99. Grip tape, $14.99. Shoes you didn't technically need but convinced yourself you did, $129. Court reservation upgrade, $25. Energy drinks, snacks. Another set of balls, just in case. Total, $432.67. You tap your card anyway. Approved. The cashier hands you the bag like it's nothing. You walk out already doing the math in your head, already telling yourself it's fine. You'll adjust. You'll just be a little tighter this week. Maybe skip eating out. Maybe delay a bill. You don't check your account. That's the first decision, the one that feels small. 3 hours later, you're in your car, you turn the key. The engine starts, but something's off. You glance at the dashboard. The fuel gauge is sitting just above empty. You freeze for half a second. You knew it was low. You just didn't think it was that low. You do the calculation automatically. You've done it before. There's a gas station 3 miles away. You can make it. Probably. You pull out. You don't drive fast. You don't accelerate hard. You coast when you can. You treat every movement like it costs something. Because now it does. 2 minutes in, the low fuel light turns on. You stare at it. You don't panic yet. Panic wastes focus. You adjust your plan. There's a closer station, not the one you usually go to, more expensive, worse lighting. You don't like it, but it's closer. You turn. Another decision. Another small one. You pull into the station. You don't even park fully. You just stop near a pump and shut off the engine like you're afraid it won't start again. You reach for your wallet. You already know. You open your banking app anyway, $6.14. You stare at the number like it might change. It doesn't. You swipe down, refresh, same number. You check your credit card, maxed. Not because of one big purchase, because of a series of small ones. All of them justified at the time. All of them leading here. You're standing at a gas pump with a car that can't move and $6.14 to your name. That's when it stops being about pickleball. That's when it becomes something else. You look around. No one is paying attention to you. No one knows you're stuck. No one cares. That's the second realization. No one is coming to fix this. You have to solve it. Now. You start with the simplest option. You put in $6. It feels ridiculous. But it's something. You swipe. Declined. You stare at the screen. You try again. Declined. You check your account again. $6.14. You don't understand for a second. Then you do. Pre-authorization. The system tries to hold more than you have. You don't even have access to your own $6. You laugh once. Short, quiet. Because it's either that or something worse. You cancel the transaction. Now you're not just low on gas, you're completely out of options. You sit back in the driver's seat. You don't start the car. You just sit. And you think. This is where the real decisions begin. Because everything up to this point was automatic. Spend, justify, delay consequences. Now there are consequences, immediate ones. You need to get home. You need to get to work tomorrow. You need to function. And right now you can't even move your car. You run through the possibilities. Call someone. But who? And what do you say? Hey, I spent all my money on pickleball and now I can't afford gas. You already know how that sounds. You consider it anyway. Because pride doesn't solve problems, but it complicates them. You step out of the car, you walk into the store. You don't buy anything, you just look. There's a small sign near the counter, cash only for pump prepay. You approach. Can I put like $5 on pump 3? The cashier looks at you, not judgmental, just tired. Minimum 10. Of course it is. You nod like that makes sense, because it does. Just not for you, not right now. You leave. You stand outside your car again. You check your phone, contacts. You scroll, you stop on a name, then keep scrolling, you stop on another, then keep scrolling. Every option comes with a cost. Not money, something else. Explanation, embarrassment, future leverage. Because once you ask, they know. And once they know, it changes something. You don't like that, but you don't have many choices left. You pick one. You call. They answer. You keep it simple. Hey, quick question. Are you near a gas station? Pause. Yeah, why? You decide in that moment how much truth to give. Car's low. Car's acting weird. Can you spot me like $10? Another pause. Longer. You wait. Yeah, I can. Relief doesn't hit all at once. It comes in layers. You're a lifesaver, you say. Which station? You tell them. They say they'll be there in 15 minutes. 15 minutes might as well be an hour. But it's something. You sit back in the car. Now you're not solving the problem. You're waiting. That's a different kind of pressure. Because now your situation is visible. Temporary, but visible. You think about how you got here. Not in a vague way, in specifics. $432.67. One purchase, but not really. It's the accumulation of decisions. I deserve this. I'll use it. I'll make it back. All of them felt reasonable. At the time. That's the third realization. Bad situations don't come from one bad decision. They come from a series of justified ones. They arrive. They don't say anything when they pull up. They just get out, walk to the pump, and handle it. Efficient, no commentary, no questions. That almost makes it worse. Because now you owe them something you didn't ask for. Discretion. You thank them again. They shrug it off. It's just gas. But it's not just gas. You know that. You get back in your car. You start the engine. The gauge moves slightly. Just enough. You can go home now. You can go to work tomorrow. You're functional again. But something has shifted. You don't stop playing pickleball. That would be too simple. Instead, you adjust. You tell yourself you've learned. You budget. You track expenses. At least for a while. You become more aware of your limits. But awareness isn't control, not completely, because the next time you're at the counter, holding something you want, you remember the last time. And you still consider it. That's the real tension. Not between having money and not having money, between knowing better and doing it anyway. Months pass. You don't end up stranded again, but you come close. Once, then again. Each time you catch it earlier. You adjust faster. You build systems, separate accounts. Automatic transfers. You start treating your finances like a game. Optimization, efficiency, trade-offs. Because that's what it is. Every dollar has a direction. Every choice has a consequence. Some immediate, some delayed. You get better at seeing both. Years later, you're not standing at gas pumps with $6.14. You're stable. Mostly. You can afford the paddle without checking your account. You can fill your tank without thinking about it. But the pattern doesn't disappear. It just changes scale. Now it's not $400 decisions. It's $4,000 decisions. $40,000 decisions. Same logic, different stakes. I deserve this. I'll make it back. I'll adjust later. You recognize it immediately, because you've been here before, just smaller. That's the part that stays with you, the structure of the decision, and not the amount. Sometimes when you pull into a gas station, you think about that moment, sitting in your car, dashboard light on, phone in your hand. $6.14. You remember how quickly everything narrowed, how few options you had, how every decision suddenly mattered. You don't live there anymore, but you understand it now, at a deeper level, because the situation wasn't about gas. It wasn't even about money. It was about control, and how easy it is to think you have it, right up until you don't. And the next time you're standing at a counter, holding something you don't need but want anyway, you pause, just for a second. You do the math. You think about consequences. You think about future you, sitting in a car, staring at a number that won't change. And sometimes, that's enough. Sometimes it isn't. Because the game never really ends, it just resets at a higher level. And the decisions keep coming. Exactly the same, just with more at stake.